closer. Hey there, man.
Hey guys, welcome to Braddels Gaming and to another episode of my Far Cry 5 community creation series. In this series, I play other people's maps on the Far Cry 5 arcade, with the hope that if you're watching this video, you might be able to pick up some kind of ideas for your own map creations, or just enjoy the fellow creativity of another Far Cry creator. And it's great to see that this map is actually available on all three platforms because it is a masterful creation. We are starting the 2023 edition of Community Creations with a banger of a map. Now, this map is called POLYCHROMATICA. It's created by DmnDrtyHERETIC. The game mode is Journey, and like I said, it's available on all three platforms. It was originally created on the PlayStation 4 under the creator's name. I'm just going to shorten his name for the sake of this video and for the sake of this commentary to DMN. But if you want to play it on Xbox and PC, you have to search for the map under the MapSwapper 2 alias. POLYCHROMATICA has it all, and I think it's very befitting of its name. Now, I don't think POLYCHROMATICA is actually a word, but I do like the title nonetheless. But the closest word to polychromatica is polychromatic, which is defined by Google as two or more of varying colors, multicolored, alternatively in physics terms as of light or other radiation of a number of wavelengths or frequencies. Now, I can't exactly go into the mind of the creator, but it looks like the inspiration for this map was the word polychromatic, of which they then proceeded to create one of the more wackier and spontaneous maps I've ever played in the arcade. One with many wavelengths, so to speak. I probably used that term completely incorrectly, and that was probably a very cringe-worthy joke as well. So in light of that, hopefully no more cringe-worthy jokes from myself. I'm also not that much of a physics person, so like I said, I don't really know if I correctly used that term just then. But on the topic of jokes though, and probably a much better attempt at mine, is DMN's joke in the map's loadouts, making an immediate joke to the player about how it's a good thing that there is no fall damage in the map. It's not often creators, myself included, use the loadouts as a way to tell a joke. I've definitely seen creators use the loadouts as a way to convey a story, narrative, or instructions to the player, but I do really appreciate DMN's approach here. It opens the map with a bit of comedic relief, so to speak. The map also ticks off on the colorscape aspect. When you spawn in immediately, you find yourself free falling through an extensive set of multicolored layered rings, and the act of this falling motion is essentially the punchline of the joke laid out in the loadouts. Overall, the magenta chosen colorscape of the map actually reminds me a little bit of the stairs, another map I've featured in this community creation series, of which you can find by clicking the card at the top right of your screen. Although you might want to save that video as a new tab so you can finish this one first. I acknowledged in that video how the stairs had a reputation for being quite the trippy map, and the magenta colorscape helped to convey that. The stairs has a slightly darker magenta tinge to it, whilst the map we're looking at today, POLYCHROMATICA, favours a lighter magenta tinge. I can't really put my finger on it, but something about magenta just makes things psychedelic, strange, wacky, and trippy. Perhaps the colour amongst other colours is normal, but when one isolates it, or makes it the dominant colour, that's when it becomes one of the aforementioned things. But I digress. After all, I'm not here to talk about colours and the meanings and symbolizations behind them, but oh man, does this take me back to art class in high school. One thing that has always stood out to me about this map, apart from the atmosphere, is the way DMN makes you as a player be at the centre of a couple of questions regarding morality and one's conscience. It's not often a Far Cry 5 arcade level makes you question these topics, but DMN's map is definitely the exception. I actually would have liked to see this part of the map expanded, to be included amongst the other sections of the map, because it's limited only to a couple of the starting rooms at the beginning of this journey map, where with clever scripting DMN has tastefully created 2 rooms near the start of the journey that makes you ponder these things. As you would have seen from the gameplay, I quickly disposed of the angels, following DMN's direction via the prompt that it's okay, they're brain dead. This prompt gives us as the player a clear conscience to eliminate them quickly, and I further reason that I'd probably be putting them out of their misery anyway, as the Angels clearly have one of the darker backstories in the Far Cry 5 campaign, where they are former civilians or resistance members that have been forcibly experimented on by the Peggies, via extreme exposure to the hallucinogenic bliss drug. This pacifies them in the campaign to mindlessly follow the orders of Faceseed and the Peggies, so brain dead. But I do still question that kind of makes me a monster because, you know, I'm kind of uncertain as to whether the Angels can actually experience pain. It's a question I never considered before, but DMN makes me question it. So that's my question for the comment section. Do you guys think the Angels from the Far Cry 5 campaign can feel pain? With all this being said though, it is a video game, so whilst it does question morality, I don't have too much of a conscience in eliminating video game characters, and in saying all this, I don't think I would actually harm the Angels in real life unless they directly threaten me or those around me. In saying all this, I'd also hope not to find myself in a situation like this in real life. So hopefully POLYCHROMATICA, as fun as it is, doesn't become my reality when I wake up tomorrow. The first choice, the disposal of the Angels, gave a taste to what this map could be and its uniqueness in that sense. I must say I was still completely blown away by the shock horror of the second choice in this map. I actually laughed so loud and so hard because I never expected to see this kind of scenario in a Far Cry arcade level, let alone any game at all. Potentially having to eliminate a group of innocent, defenseless animals for no reason other than to progress forward through an arcade map was a hilarious scenario, but also one that I found difficult to do. And again, despite it being in a video game and the fact that the Angels in the previous choice are not too dissimilar from the animals in the second choice, as the Angels too are technically innocent and defenseless, I had a much harder time potentially having to eliminate the animals as opposed to my decision regarding the Angels. Fortunately, and I suspected this might be the case, but only in the second scenario, as I didn't try to think this in the first scenario, but DMN allows the players to protest the harm of innocent animals, and as I did, by smashing the mannequins, the animals, although it is kind of ambiguous, seem to survive, as you instead find yourself falling through the floor, through another set of multicolored rings and into another very similar room, but this time with the fire jets already activated, the glass smashed, and a myriad of weapons. Finally, some firepower. The firepower is actually my next pro for this map. I love that how through the map, DMN gives you more and more weapons to work with. Especially as the map progressively becomes more challenging, so too does the arsenal you are supplied with. I find too many maps give players every single type of weapon they might want to use in a map at the start, and whilst it's a nice thing to do, to give people variety and selection, I much rather enjoy the challenge of starting out small, and as the map progresses, slowly cultivating an insane arsenal, much like you do in most video games with progression. It gives you a sense of achievement and reward, making the gameplay that much more enjoyable. A potential improvement for the map could be improving the level design of some of the enemy areas. The room with the zombie capsules and tractors, and the volcano, although I'm calling it the Zomcano, were both unique gameplay experiences, but also areas that could easily be bypassed by the player. I'm not entirely sure if this was intentional or not, but perhaps some are forcing the player to complete these confrontations, so they don't bypass the area having only eliminated half or less of the area's enemies. As on a second playthrough, when I sped run through the map, I bypassed a lot of enemies, meaning enemies further on in the map didn't spawn in, which made the gameplay experience a little less than satisfactory. The fact that I could either drive the tractor and then take the zipline immediately without having killed any of the zombies, or destroying their capsules, and running straight to the teleporter in the Zomcano section as well, essentially doing the same thing, kind of made those parts of the map pointless. Yes, they were unique and they were fun to look at, but the fact that I could just run straight to the exit without there being any sort of physical blocker preventing me from doing so, kind of made these areas a little pointless and kind of things that I could just skip over. I suppose in a sense it does give the player playing the map a certain level of flexibility or choice, in that they can choose to skip these areas, thus making the map a little easier for themselves. But either way, I can only propose that the different viewpoints of the creator not conclusively prove one way or the other what the true purpose was. So whilst the objectives of those areas might have been unclear, where this was clear though was the great finale of the map, where despite getting peed on, yes I mean it, the scripting is on point as DMN makes a blood dragon rush to a position, setting up a great boss fight. I thought it was also quite funny that as I got peed on, the boss music started playing as well, and that's going to be a short that I'm going to be posting on this channel right after this video. Now the great boss fight was only really great on the dragon's behalf, the blood dragon, as it panicked me into trying to use an obliterator to kill said blood dragon, which blew up in my face, killing me, making me restart the entire map, and subsequently having to speed run through it on my second playthrough. It wasn't really my second playthrough, but it was pretty close. My second playthrough at least for trying to capture this gameplay, that is. And you will be seeing a sort of transition for when that happened a little later. Now, but after having slain the laser staring dragon in the second playthrough, the finishing area is also swanky, as you will see later on in the gameplay. And as always, I don't really want you guys to feel pressured to watch my gameplay for the map first. I highly recommend playing the map for yourself first, then coming back here to watch my analysis and commenting your thoughts on the map in the comment section below. So if you have Far Cry 5, what are you waiting for? Pause this video, go and play POLYCHROMATICA, then come back here afterwards. You won't regret it. Wow, I sound like some creepy dude trying to sell you some kind of new street drug. Aha! That's the perfect metaphor for this map. Some kind of new, strange, weird and wonderful street drug. I hope you enjoy the POLYCHROMATICA pill. I hope you enjoy the POLYCHROMATICA pill. Nah, but in all seriousness, thank you guys very much for tuning in to another episode of Far Cry 5 Community Creations. If you guys love Far Cry content and you haven't subscribed, I highly recommend doing so and hitting that bell icon for future channel notifications. I make Far Cry content, as you guys can probably see, and I am not stopping anytime soon. I'm going to keep producing this Far Cry content. I love Far Cry, I love this channel, and I can't wait to see how we continue to build this community up. But without any further ado, I'm Braddels Gaming, I'm signing out now, and remember to have yourselves a great day.
to